we are making an exception today because Alana's speech fits the category of Project 10. And Project 10 is an inspirational, inspire your audience speech. Normally, we work up to Project 10, or at least do our first two speeches to set a foundation for Project 10. However, we do make exceptions and we're flexible. And since this speech is such an incredibly inspiring topic, we believe that it fits into Project 10. So that is the project that Alana will be doing today, and the objectives are to inspire the audience by appealing to noble motives and challenging the audience to achieve a higher level of belief or achievement. Also, to appeal to the audience's needs and emotions using stories, anecdotes, quotes, and drama. The speech will be 8 to 10 minutes. And Jeffrey, I'm not sure, do you want Jeffrey to show you? You know already how to watch the timer.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, very good. So
what's important is that you can see the timer. I think I position it so that it's away from the picture-in-a-picture.
Move it to your left. Move it to your left, please.
Yes, I can see.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
The other side.
Keep moving towards you. Yeah, right there.
Perfect.
No, actually, there's a window thingy in there, right there. There's one little window for it. Sorry.
No problem.
Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. And we want to engender today a feeling of understanding and heartfelt knowledge of what happened during this time that Alana will be speaking. And I just want to introduce Alana a little bit. She's worked since June 2013 as a software engineer in the GNS NetSys team. She's lived in the Bay Area since 1991. She loves art, dancing, swimming trips, and now Toastmasters. She's been a member of Toastmasters since October 2015. Based on her inspiration, her daughter joined Google Toastmasters and won several table topics competitions. So this is how it spreads, people, and we are the living billboards for how wonderful Toastmasters is. So right now, Alana, please help me welcome Alana to give her speech. And her speech is entitled, My Parents' Holocaust Survival Story.
Hello, everyone. Today is the Holocaust Memorial Eve, and I would like to share this inspiration story with you. It's to the memory of, oh, actually, I want to share this picture.
Okay, so we are going to use the document.
I'm sorry.
Where the light is.
So, can you see it, or it's the other side? Should I start from the beginning?
No, you can keep going.
Okay. So I would like to share the story with you of my mother. This is also for Mother's Day and also for her inspirational story. It's Poland, 1939, small town by the name Zawiercie. A Jewish family is getting ready for their Shabbat dinner. And all the kids are helping the mom. And suddenly, open the door. The Gestapo policemen get into the house and aim the mother. You must give us one of your kids. The mother was astonished. She didn't know what to say, but what she can do. She turned to Esther, 12 years old, and she tells her, you are almost the youngest one, the thin one, and I don't know if you will be able to survive, so you will go. But remember, do anything to survive. Eat everything. Don't keep kosher. Don't think about any rule. Just survive. And this was the last time that Esther saw her mom. Esther was 12 years old. Apparently, Esther is my mom. Esther was taken to the synagogue overnight, where all the other kids were taken. During the night, her father was able to get there, and he gave her a blanket, a packet of pictures, and a knife, handmade knife that he created. And he told her, "This is for your memory of the family." And this is the last time that Esther saw her dad. The next morning, the Gestapo did some selection. Who looks to them healthy, that can go to a labor camp, and who looks for them weak? And apparently, they sent them to Auschwitz. Esther was selected to go to a labor camp. They were loaded into a truck, and the truck traveled to Czechoslovakia, to a labor camp. And they did textile work for the Nazis. They worked in shifts, day and nights, with hardly any food. Actually, one of the guards there liked Esther, and after every weekend, she brought her a small sandwich to eat, that she had to hide and eat it. And this is how she survived. Esther spent there 5 years, over all the time that the wartime. Esther worked there, and it was very dangerous to be sick, because from time to time, the Gestapo came and they took the sick people who didn't function well and sent them to Auschwitz. During this time, Esther got letters from her family. Sometimes she got a piece of bread over the mail. Another time, she got money wrapped with a string of thread, cotton thread, to hide the money, that nobody will steal it, of course. And then suddenly, she stopped getting letters from her family. Her brother, who didn't live with the rest of the family since he was older and he was already married, sent her a letter. "Sorry to inform you, but they were all taken to Auschwitz." After a while, Esther stopped getting letters from her brother, and she feared from the worst. She continued to live there with the other girls and work. At 1945, when she was 17, the camp was liberated by the Russian. The Russian opened the gates, gave them tons of food, and many people were jumping on the food because they didn't have any. And only because their body wasn't used to have such a big amount of food, many people died from eating over. Back then, trains were free in Europe, so people could go and find their relatives. So Esther, after the camp was liberated, Esther took the train back to her hometown, Zawiercie, to find if she has any relatives. Maybe some miracle happened. She walked slowly towards her house, and it was occupied by different people that invaded the house while it was empty. Another neighbor who knew her suggested to her, "Please come, live with us, get married with my sons." And she said, "No, I cannot do it. I cannot. I need to go somewhere else." And she was very frightened. Many people were killed in the street just for nothing, so she didn't know where to go. And think about it. No family, no shelter, no food, no gender. She went to the river. In this river, many people used to commit suicide in the village. And she said, "I will commit suicide." Something stopped her in the last minute, and she cannot explain it. She said, "I need to wait. Maybe there is tomorrow." She came back to the train station without knowing where to go, no food, no nothing. and she was sitting there. Apparently, at the train station, she met other girls in the same condition, the same situation. After several days of sitting there and not knowing what to know, some messengers came, group of people, that those people were sent from Israel to collect all the lost children of the Holocaust. And she was one of them. She was already 17 years old. They collected them to kind of a camp, and they start to prepare them on their journey to Israel. And think about it. Bunch of people, refugees, they don't have any certificates. They need to travel. How they can travel? They pack them into trucks. And when the trucks cross the borders, since they didn't have any passport, no certificates, they had to stop breathing. And they were aimed. If you will breathe while we are crossing the checkpoint, the dogs may smell you and they may bark and discover your position. You need to be still. They were able to cross the borders, and then they had also to cross the Alps. They had to cross the Alps from Austria to Italy. And from Italy, they were planned to take a boat to Israel. While they're crossing the Alps, first they couldn't cross the Alps during the day. It was light and they could be discovered. So they were sitting under the trees, and only during night they were able to walk. The height was amazingly awful, and Esther was frightened. Many times she was freezing and she couldn't move. But some good people helped her. One of the messengers helped her, gave her hand, and was able to encourage her to continue to go. When the group arrived to Italy, they met with other groups who came from different locations, who were collected from different parts of Europe. Back then, she met Tzvi, who happened to be my father. And since then, they were together. From Italy, they took a boat. The boat, it wasn't a love boat, as you can imagine. They were smashed there like sardines because they were trying to load as many people as possible to be able to cross the Mediterranean Sea that was rough. They went on the boat, they crossed the sea, they arrived to the shore of Israel. It was 1947. The British occupied in Israel. The British didn't let them to land, so there was a fight. Refugees against the British. How they fight? The British had guns, rifles, and the refugees just had cans of food. So they were throwing cans of food against rifles. Think about this obscure situation. The British finally took the boat and led them to Cyprus. In Cyprus, they stayed in a camp. It was kind of a jail, but at least they had food to eat and nobody killed them. At Cyprus, my parents were married. And on 1949, after Israel was established, they were allowed to move to Israel. And I want to inspire you with this story. So how come a person from the bottom, he thinks that he's almost dying, can wait and hope to a better time, and eventually the better time is coming. And I want to dedicate this story to the memory of all the 6 million that were perished in the Holocaust, and to inspire you that there is always a better day. Eventually, my mom got married to my father, Tzvi. My mom, Esther, got married. They raised a huge family, 3 daughters, 11 grandchildren, and 11 grand-grandchildren. And this was their victory on the Nazis. Thank you.
Thank you.